Very good afternoon and good evening to all of you from wherever you are joining us from across the world. I, Richa Jain, Assistant Professor on behalf of the Center for Excellence in Intellectual Property Rights of the ICFI Law School, Hyderabad, IFHE, welcomes all of you to today's panel discussion on the occasion of the World IP Day, a day on which we celebrate the role played by intellectual property in stimulating innovation and creativity. Today's discussion will be themed around the topic IP and Youth, Innovating for a Better Future. Before introducing and inviting our panelists, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce and invite our director, sir, Professor Dr. A.B. Narasimhan, sir. Sir is a doctorate in environmental law. He has more than 20 years of teaching experience in addition to industry experience of more than 20 years. He has written more than 60 research articles published in national and international journals. He specialized in corporate law, IPR, environmental law, banking, insurance law. He has visited many countries across the world, such as USA, France, Italy, Switzerland, Poland, and Bhutan as part of academic and research activities. He has guided many LLM and MBA students for dissertation and thesis. He also participated in annual fest of Association of American Law Schools during 2012 on their invitation. Sir, I humbly request you to kindly announce the gathering and to give your remarks on the subject of investment on IPR and portfolio management. Sir.
Richa, thank you for inviting. As a part of the panelist, I should be last. First, our guests should be there. So I will take a last chance.
Sure.
However, you told now I'll be talking 2 minutes on the topic and welcoming Ramakrishna Damodaran, Ashok Ramkumar, other professors here. IP Day has become very important event. If you see, every university, every IP firm, either individually or jointly, is organizing IP Day today, on 26th, that's today. It has become a well-known factor now. Earlier, nobody was knowing about the IP Day and no one was organizing, only limited people used to conduct it. This particular organizing the number of events itself shows that the awareness program that is being spread over the country. For this also, the government also started giving some kind of special programs under the 75 years of Azadi Mahotsav. Now it is even organizing many programs jointly with universities, IPR chairs, which they already established across the country. Almost 15-20 chairs have been established. All the chairs are organizing this program on 26th. And some chairs also organizing a series of lectures every Saturday or every Sunday like that. This particular awareness program, further we can understand that this year the number of patents filed by us is increased, is the top for last whatever the years gone by. That's one of the best indication that India is also looking to stand along with other countries in filing the numbers. So this awareness has come to us, and everyone, most probably our education institutions are coming with a lot of different types of the workshops, training programs, seminars, conferences in order to bring this part. Certification is another important area where the intellectual property right organization or the IP office is working jointly with other people. So these are the various things. One more thing I want to tell at juncture, even comics are prepared by the department to make others know what you will pay trademark, what is the copyrights, etc. Comics, which can be easily understood by common persons across the world. So there is an application also. They have prepared one application, software application, which can be used for everything to understand the awareness program to approach the concerned person. So these are the development today we have. This makes us to think that we are on right way in improving the IPR awareness program and also improving the applications of filing maybe patent or trademarks, whatever that is there. Now it will help us in increasing the part of it. The idea of conducting the IPR day is almost being fulfilled because with these things are new programs that are being proposed by the IP office. So with this, I request Ramakrishna Damodaran, Ashok Ramkumar, take their choices. Who will be coming? Who will be talking first? choice is given to them, then I'll be speaking at the last.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your words, kind words. I would now like to invite and introduce our panelist, Mr. Ramakrishnan Damodaran, sir, Managing Director at IPVEN, Malaysia. Mr. Ramakrishnan Damodaran has a degree in Applied Chemistry and postgraduate degree in Law from University of Malaya. He has recently completed his PhD in Law. He is a registered Malaysian patent agent, registered Malaysian trademark agent, registered Malaysian industrial design agent, registered Malaysian geographical indications agent, and a registered new plant variety and grant of breeders' right agent. He is also involved in providing litigation support to clients who were involved in IP litigation in many countries such as Malaysia, Singapore, Korea, China, US, Europe, Russia, Argentina, etc. As a certified trainer by HRG Corporation, Mr. Damodaran is actively involved in the promotion of IP, speaking at many local and foreign conferences. He has also been invited by international agencies such as International Science, Technology and Innovation Center for South Corporation, which is under the auspice of UNESCO, Hong Kong Trade Development Center, University of Brunei, and Brunei Economic Development Board, as well as other local government and private entities. He was also invited by Japanese Patent Attorney Association to deliver an e-learning seminar on trademark and design prosecution and litigation system in Asian countries in English, and he has the distinction to be the first Asian to have ever done so. Mr. Damodaran is the managing director of Ad IPVEN, a boutique IP law firm in Kuala Lumpur, and one of the directors of Robini, a R&D company specializing in AI. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation. It is our privilege to hear your thoughts on the subject of IP and sir.
Thank you, Ms. Jane. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, everyone from Malaysia. My name is Ramakrishnan Damodaran. And first of all, I would like to thank ICFAI. I hope I pronounce it correctly. And in particular, Prof. Avian Rao, Dr. Reddy, Mr. Dilip Sharma, and Ms. Richa Jain for inviting me to join all of you on this very interesting day to share my experience in IP and youth. Yeah. So every year, as Professor Rao mentioned just now, every year we celebrate on the April 26th, we celebrate World IP Day. And as Prof mentioned, people were not paying too much attention to this kind of celebrations because they think it's just another day, you know. But then once this was established, the World IP Day was established, people have started paying more attention, both from the government agencies as well as the private agencies. A lot of talks have been held, a lot of interviews, a lot of programs have been arranged all around the world to celebrate the World IP Day. And interestingly, this year, 2022, the World Intellectual Property Organization has come up with a theme that youth and IP innovation for a better future. So I thought that was an excellent topic theme for this year because whether we like it or not, youth will going to be the main game changer for the years to come. We have seen excellent story case studies about how companies, startup companies especially, started growing big successfully when sorry, someone saying something. Sorry, because I heard someone saying something. Okay, sorry. So we have seen a lot of startup companies growing very fast. And interestingly, these companies are being led by youth, those people who are below 30s, and they have changed the way we interact, react with people. Like, for example, Mr. Ram Kumar now. Just imagine he's actually attending this webinar through from his car, right by the side of a highway. If this happened about, say, 10 years ago, when we were still talking about 2G and 3G, I don't think Mr. Ram Kumar will be able to join us because of the connection. So we are in the era that anything that is happening around the world is being led by the youth. All right. Now, the topic that was given to me is youth and IP. And let me just get the topic exactly right. So the topic that I have been asked to discuss will be issues covering aspect of IP generation, filing, ownership, and transfer of innovation, as well as the legal issues that affecting this kind of situation. All right. So now, let's first look at what is innovation. All right. The concept of innovation can be very, very abstract because we have so many definitions of innovation. People talk about innovation being the game changer. People talking about innovation being small, micro improvement, major improvement. So there are many, many definitions that are being applied on innovation invention. However, for me personally, innovation is actually a process, a lifestyle, if you may, in developing and making or creating a new mechanism that improves human life. Okay, because whatever we do, ultimately we want to serve a fellow countryman, the citizen of this world, so that they have better life ahead. If they can improve their lifestyle in one way or another, the aim of the innovator has been achieved. All right. So the idea is focusing on developing a good, workable concept that can be created where the intellectual property rights can be obtained, can be protected, eventually to be commercialized. All right. Without, remember, a lot of universities face this problem. A lot of publicly funded research institutes face this problem, whereby they have huge number of IP registrations, filings with them, but none of them, or majority of them, do not really commercialize the invention. In fact, those who do actually struggle to meet the clients or the market demands, because what they have probably at the lab scale, all right, and the market needs something far ahead of what they have developed. All right, so it is an important aspect that we have. Innovation involves multiple channels where you have the innovators, you have the ecosystem to support the innovator to grow the invention from the idea stage to the actual product that we can see in the market. Innovations can be in a form of product, can be in a form of a service, or even a model that can improve people's lifestyle. All right. I recently had an opportunity to read a report called World Youth Report, okay, where the report said that youth, as I said earlier, definitely will be the leader in terms of innovation, because they possess certain criteria, certain qualities that people of, say, senior age may not possess, or they have the mindset to do that. For example, one of the things that the report says is that youth has what they call as social asset. Social asset means the youth has the first-hand knowledge about what the communities are doing, how they are uniquely positioned to help the communities to improve themselves. Okay, because these people, whether we like it or not, most youth, if not all of them, are in social media. They know what is going on. They get news about what is happening around the world, probably faster than faster than the media agencies around the world. Before the media agencies pick up the news and report the news to the people, most people would have gotten the information through the social media. All right. So having that social asset definitely put youth in a level that they are ahead of the game. All right. Youth also are said to have what we call as unique thinking way, whereby apparently this, I'm not sure because this is not my field. Apparently there's a brain surgeon said that youth have certain what they call as a brain recruiting core system that enables them to change the way they behave. Like, for example, we were talking about students struggling to be back to the campus, how they're going to adapt their lifestyle after the last 2 years. For the youth, probably it is easier for them to adapt compared to the more senior people, because they don't have the capability, or the brains do not have the capability of enhancing themselves to improve or change themselves to face that kind of situation. Of course, with that, youth also have deep connection with the technology. All of them, probably all youth have a mobile phone or two now. They have a connection, Wi-Fi connection, and they use the technology to get that latest information, what's going on around the world. Now, let's look at, that is the innovation part. Let's look at what is youth then, all right? Youth of today, ladies and gentlemen, you must understand that they are a largely untapped source of what we call of ingenuity and creativity. They have that level that people probably say 30 years ago didn't have, whereby they have the technology in their hands, they have all the information they needed, in order to come up with new invention, new ideas, new solutions. All they need to do is probably do a bit of Googling and go to YouTube and find videos and find some papers about what is happening around the world and try to improve that invention or try to come up with a solution. The youth of today are actually a very incredible bunch of group of people. And a report says there are 1.8 billion people around the world aged below 24. And I know India is a very young country. I can't say that same with Malaysia because Malaysia is relatively an aging country, but India definitely is a young country. So that's where you see, like Dr. Prof. Rao said just now, you see number of patents filing has gone up, number of innovation has gone up. You have people already talking about, other countries are talking about unicorn, and you guys are talking about one level up above unicorn. So the youth are the ones actually pushing countries like India to go to the next level. And I'm very happy that Millennial and Gen X are now making things possible. Even the government, even people who never paid attention to the youth are now started to listen to these people, because youth becoming policy makers. They are being consulted to come up with a lot of information. Just for info, in 2018, after the general election, Malaysia's youth and sport minister was I'm not kidding you, he was a 24-year-old guy who was appointed a rookie, a pioneer in politics, and he was appointed as a youth and sports minister. Of course, he's no longer there with that position because the government has changed since then. But the fact that he was the youngest ever minister, and in the last election, also in 2018, the youngest candidate who won the parliamentary seat was a 18-year-old student from a local university. So now you see a lot of changes happening, not only at the mindset of the community, also at the political level, where youth are getting more and more exposed to what is happening around the world. Now, we talk about politics, we talk about a community. Of course, we cannot forget about business. Definitely, there's a lot of business going on. There are a lot of IP being created by youth. For example, memes, videos, your social media posts, your photographs that you post on your Instagram, your Facebook, and whatnot. All these are being created on literally every second. All right. So now you will have a situation that youth are creating a lot of IP, but the issue now is, do they know that they are creating IP? Are they aware that they are not using or they are not misusing IP created by others? Are they monetizing their IP? This is where the problem is. First and foremost, we need to determine whether they are the IP owners. So my topic today, ladies and gentlemen, is to discuss about youth innovation and issues covering the innovation. So I'll be discussing some topics about youth, some case laws that have been decided in Malaysia and other countries. And I'm sure Mr. Ram Kumar later will be discussing the position in India and other countries as well. Now, let's start with a very brief definition, some definition. Youth. I had a meeting with Mr. Sharma and Dr. Reddy, I think last week. We were discussing about definition of youth. In Malaysia, I'm still embarrassed to say this, youth is still anyone below 40, which is ridiculous. Just imagine a middle-aged man is still considered to be youth under the law. Yes, the law was indeed amended in 2019, if I remember correctly, July 2019. The definition of youth now has been reduced to 30, 18 to 30, 15 to 30. However, that amendment was never passed, never enforced, and was never approved by the King of Malaysia. Still pending with the King at this point of time. So as of now, Malaysia, anything youth is defined as between 15 to 40. All right. Now, and the age of majority in Malaysia is 18. All right. So interestingly, in Malaysia, anyone below 18 is under the law is are defined as infant, which I know from the medical perspective, that can be very wrong, because infant under the medical term is probably those kids below 2. But then under the law, anyone below 18, anyone who is minor is actually considered to be an infant. Now, issue that we normally face is that whether youth can own IP. ladies and gentlemen, there are no provisions under any of the IP laws in Malaysia that prohibit IP ownership by youth, okay, including minors. However, the issues that you may face or we have faced in the last few years, mainly on IP created by the schools and the universities, for example. Now, first thing first, we need to determine whether schools can own IP. Can universities own IP? In Malaysia, schools are not allowed to own IP, all right, because they are not a legal entities on its own. Any IP created by the school students, when I talk about schools, I'm referring to the primary and the secondary schools here. Those inventions will belong to the government of Malaysia as represented by the Ministry of Education. So the schools are not the rightful owners of IP created. But having said that, we have seen some patent application being filed by the school. There are no case laws that actually say, oh, it is wrong or this right. But if you go strictly by the law, that patent application should be deemed to be null and void. However, universities, because we have University and Colleges Act 1971, under the Act, universities and university colleges are recognized as an entity, a legal entity, okay, and therefore they can own IP. They can be sued as a legal entity. Therefore, any IP created by the universities normally owned by the university themselves, even if they are publicly funded. All right. But the issue that universities, at least the clients that our clients face, is that usually these kind of contracts are signed with the postgraduate students, researchers. But when it comes to the first undergraduate program, the bachelor's degree program, most students, most universities, I would say, do not have a particular policy or contract which they sign with the students, especially those who are doing research for the final year students, science and engineering students. And any IP created by the final year students normally get protected by or claimed by the supervisor, lecturer themselves, right? So this will be an issue because the inventors in those cases should be the undergraduates. All right. Now, the other issues that may be an interesting aspect, because we are talking about youth, is that we cannot forget about minors. Now, under the Age of Majority Act 1971 in Malaysia, anyone below 18 cannot own assets. That is actually coded under the land code also. All right, for example. Now, however, in the IP Acts, as I said earlier, none of the acts actually prohibit IP filings by the minors. I'm not sure about the situation in India. I'm sure Mr. Ram Kumar will be discussing that later. The thing is, filing the patent applications or IP application generally will not be an issue. However, signing a power attorney can be an issue, because for me, power attorney or appointment an agent by the client, by the minor to handle the patent or the IP matters on behalf of the client may be a legally binding contract. Now, under the Act, definitely minors cannot enter into a legal contract. Now, this will be an issue because technically the minor cannot appoint an agent by himself. Now, the question now is, usually the guardians, i.e. the parents in most cases, will be the guardian in order to file the patent application, and they will be filing the documents required. Now, there are certain issues here. We have done a bit of research. My colleague Suren is also with me today. He did a bit of research on this issue, and we found a few patent applications that have been filed by the kids, by the children, minors, together with in one particular case was with one of the parents of the children, and the three kids are still named as the co-applicants, even though they are the only inventors, three inventors here. Now, this patent is being examined because it was filed in 2020, by the way. Now, the question now is the appointment of one of the parents as a co-applicant is the right thing to do, because under the law he's supposed to be the guardian of the one of the kids here. Now, that's one issue. The other issue is why the three kids are still there as applicant, because technically they are still co-owners of the patent application. Now, in that case, that means they are required to sign the power attorney to appoint the agent who is handling the patent. Now, all these issues, technically, as I said earlier, have not been heard in the court of law. We don't know what the courts will view this case. But if you strictly go by the law, the Contracts Act, at least the appointment of the signing of the POA will be an issue by the minor. Yeah. Now, the other thing that we also have to take into consideration is that a lot of countries around the world have started moving away from appointment of like power attorney. Like Singapore, completely no power attorney is required. In Malaysia, other than trademarks filings do not require power attorney. It's a self-declaration by the agent. All they require is just a letter or email from the client appointing them to act for them. Now, the self-declaration of the agent also can be an issue because he may receive an email or letter from a person that he may never met before, and that, for all we know, that person may be a minor. All right, and now the issue is, can he sign a contract, enter into a contract with that particular client without knowing who is the other person is? The agent probably will come to know who is he acting for when he prepares the filing, because that's when you probably require the ID, and in the ID the age will be made known to the agent. But having said that, can he then go back to the client to reject the appointment after receiving his initial deposit payment and whatnot? Okay, there are many complications that we have noticed. All right. Also, you must remember, when you talk about patent filing, trademark filing, there is no provision for you to declare whether you're a major or minor. Okay, there's no provision for you to say, I'm a major, I'm a minor. No, unfortunately, no. All right. So when we contacted the IP office in Malaysia, they also have no clue about how to handle this issue, because for them, everyone is equal. They cannot differentiate between the majors and the minors, and therefore, they will take everything as it is, and they assume everything is fine unless the matter goes to court and be litigated. The other issue that probably, I'm not sure whether you've heard about this issue, there was a very controversial case in Malaysia decided by the federal court literally 2 years ago, because under the federal constitution, the federal constitution is worded in such a way that it refers to a parent. A guardian can be a parent. But in one particular case, which actually has going on for many years, one of the cases, one of the parents, the father, actually took the kids with him when he got divorced from the wife. He took the kids with him, and he converted himself and the kids into Islam without informing the wife, the ex-wife, who is a Hindu. Now, this matter went all the way to the federal court, and obviously the mother challenged the conversion, as well as demanded the father, the ex-husband, to return the kids because they are all minors. So the initial courts said that because the federal constitution said that parent without the S means any one of the parents can actually make a decision on behalf of the minors. So the High Court and the Court of Appeal said that the father was right in converting the kids, and he has the rights to do that. But when the matter went to the federal court said no. The word parent here refers to both, whether it's singular or plural, doesn't matter. It refers to both. And in view of that children's well-being, it is important for the kids, for the both parents to give consent because they are minors. All right, and that conversion from Hindu to Muslim was declared to be null and void. All right, and the kids were ordered to be returned to the mother. All right, and this actually literally happened 2 years ago. Now, here, this issue, if this same issue applied in the IP situation, because guardian can be one of the parents. So if a guardian, if let's say the father signs the power attorney or any appointment, so to speak, technically that can be challenged, especially in the case of divorce, where the other parent may challenge that appointment because he or she may not be consulted before signing the power attorney. So while creating IP, while commercializing the IP may be a good thing to do, but I foresee a lot of legal implications. So I think that's why we are here today, to discuss some of these issues, and hopefully we can have more information from India, because India has a very good jurisprudence in this kind of situation. So I'm here to learn from you guys as well. All right. And hopefully, Mr. Ram Kumar and Prof. Rao will have some input for me to learn from you guys. Ms. Jain, with that, I conclude my short presentation, and I'm more than happy to take questions after the other two sessions. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words. I would now like to hand over the podium to our moderator for today, Mr. Damodar Reddy, for inviting our next panelist and for taking the discussion forward. Damodar, sir, over to you.
Thank you, madam. Now, with immense pleasure, I take this opportunity to introduce Advocate Ashok Ramkumar, sir. Ashok Ramkumar, sir, is a senior lawyer at High Court of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, as well as appearing before various high courts and authorities in India. Sir is into practice for more than 32 years in handling various IPR issues. Sir is highly proficient in filing IP applications and has, to his credit, more than 5,000 applications, including trademarks, copyright, and patent applications on behalf of his diversified clients, including multinational companies, large corporates, business houses, startups, small, medium enterprises, which are into biotechnology, education, pharmacy, telecommunication, chemical, and including individual inventors. Sir is senior partner at the head of litigation at Verdict IP law firm. Sir also deals with cyber crimes, digital footprinting, digital forensics, and various other information technology law matters. He is a member of International Trademark Association, International Association for Protecting Intellectual Property, and Intellectual Property Law Practitioners Association. Sir has also started an organization named Pathfinders for Innovators, exclusively to bring awareness on intellectual property rights among people. In spite of his busy practice schedule, Sir is making a lot of contribution to the academia by delivering lectures on the practical aspects of intellectual property rights. With this brief introduction, I call upon Sir to present the discussion before the panel and the participants.
Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm loud and clear.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Damodaran and Narasimha Rao Garu and all the panelists as well as the participants. I had to face a case about 15 days back, and then I thought I'll start my conversation with the practical experience I had in the case. Not because I dealt with the case, but because how the school dealt with the boy since he was a child. Now, this was a very tricky case which arose under the Information Technology Act. There was this student in one of the schools, very brilliant insofar as computers are concerned. He was able to hack into the school server and change his mark sheets. Now, this was found by the teacher, and the teacher gave a complaint to the, the principal, and the principal got in touch with me immediately. He said, "Sir, such a thing has happened. What do we do?" I said, "Look, if you give a police complaint, the child's career is spoiled, his life is spoiled. Why don't you talk to him and then ask him if he can prepare a firewall for the school server so that no one else does the same thing?" Right? So then the parents were called. Even I was there in the meeting. Initially, the parents got very upset because the child was doing all this sort of things. But then, the principal was very kind enough. He told the parents, "No, let us try this out." In the morning, that boy called me and then he profusely thanked me. He said, "Sir, thank you so much for this thing. I realized my mistake. Now I'm helping the school prepare a firewall for their server." Now that boy is just 14 years old and is a prodigy in information technology, at least with the systems. Now, what is the lesson I learned in this? do not underestimate kids. At our age, you give me a bundle of papers, I'll go through the bundle of papers, argue the case at length in the court. But my head is not tuned for innovation or invention. Whereas the younger generation has got a greater potential for being what is called as good innovators and inventors. Now, if you see, almost 5 persons in the world are aged between 15 to 24, right? So almost about 20% of the world population, is around 15 to 24. And the very encouraging factor about this is majority of them are living in the developing countries. And in India, around 66% of the total population is youth population and is below the age of 30 years, which means we have a great potential for innovation and a great potential for invention. All we need to do, all that the government needs to do is keep their eyes open, find out, help the youth in getting their IPs. Now, nearly 40% of the Indian population is aged to 13 to 35 years, right? Now, what does this mean? What does this mean? Are we going to simply call ourselves a very young country and then say, since we are very young, so our health issues are not there? All that will be there. But at the same time, the youth also are most vulnerable to unemployment. In fact, the youth are 3 times more likely than adults to be unemployed. And this is much more higher if it comes to women, as against men. Then youth are the hardest hit, during a global financial crisis or during a pandemic or we have seen in the last 2 years, such precarious conditions existed in the labor market. And about around 9.7 of the youth and 18.7 of the young women were unemployed in 2009 to 10. However, the situation has improved. And even with this, the job quality, it's a greater challenge for the youth to survive, rather, even to get into the groove of making money or finding out, ways of doing the job. But that apart, today, why are we talking of importance of IPR and youth, which is very important? Now, every time, you see politicians saying the youth is the future of this country. So the country is going to be in their hands. So the elders have to be very careful with the natural resources. They need to build a stage for the youth to survive for a longer time. So all this talk is going on. But then surviving for a longer time without innovation will not help the youth in any way. Now, what is the advantage the youth has today are 2 things. One is their creativity, and second is their can-do attitude towards developing a better future for themselves. Now, quite recently, I filed one patent for one young boy, hardly engineering first year, who had developed a particular device that could be put in the cars, where the cigarette lighter is there, a small device, which could be put in the at that place. And then, 2 twigs are opened out. And it will simply track the vehicle if it is stolen. Now, what sort of a, innovation that is only future will be able to tell this boy. But when I asked him, what is it that led him to do this? Right? He was very clear. He said, sir, there are lots of cases, at least in North India, where cars are stolen. This became basically a huge business during pandemic when, people were not going out and cars were parked on the road. And, in certain areas, where the residents don't have a in-house parking, they used to park on the road. So this became actually a cottage industry in North India. So then, he developed this small gadget for which we filed a patent in India. We are going to file a PCT application also. Now, there has to be a new, see, the youth today is coming out with a new wave of innovations. Let me tell you, it is not like what we previously were doing in the olden days, not like that. It is a completely new wave of innovation. And you know, the youth had been successful with an will and transforming their idea into reality, right? In other words, it advances their ambitions and ideas. So the success stories of many of the, which I'm going to discuss in this during this talk, the success stories of many of the youth in this country had been very good. In fact, there was this book which I was reading called as Jugaad. Now, in that book, there was a very good example of one, you know, incident of an earthquake happening in Gujarat, and next day a picture comes on the, in the, you know, it comes in the newspaper where a fridge, you know, in the collapsed house, there is a fridge door open and all the food has fallen out, you know. That inculcated a person in Gujarat to invent a fridge to be made out of clay, a mud fridge. No electricity needed, but your food is safe at least for a period of 3 to 4 days, and it can be used. Now, this gentleman started this as a cottage industry, and now he has gone to manufacture even a cooker made out of clay. Now, I really do not know how it works because it develops a pressure and all that, but he has got a frying pan, he has got utensils, he's got cooker, and you know, he's now getting into very high-end, furniture that is made out of clay, which can be, used as furniture like chairs, stools, and things like that. Now, one simple picture in the paper gave such an idea to this gentleman. And you know, when he started this, that gentleman was aged only 27 years. Then later, he went on doing this. I think it's almost about 12 or 13 years since that earthquake happened. Now he has got a huge cottage industry in Gujarat, and he's been supporting a lot of people, especially women, for employment. And you know, he was innovating in that area of, you know, using clay and mud to produce articles of daily use. Now, when we talk of youth, I think if you don't listen to the youth and analyze their needs, you cannot aid them in any way. Now, this not only applies to the parents, it not only applies to the tutors, it not only applies to the guides who are guiding them, but it completely and very specifically applies to the government. The government has to listen to the youth and analyze their needs in order to aid them. Now, there was this, a girl in Florida. You know, her name was, her name was Hannah, and she developed a system where ocean waves could be converted into electricity, and they called this as Beacon, BEACON, which meant bringing electricity access to countries through ocean energy. Now, how did she get an idea? She got this idea from a pen friend who was there in sub-Saharan Africa. You know, sub-Saharan Africa is one of the, one area where access to electricity, access to water is extremely difficult. It is poorly populated, not rich in human resources, no rainfall at all, almost no rainfall. So this girl invented this, beacon, and now they started harnessing energy from the waves, converting it into usable technology. Now, if you are going to talk about conversion of technology, usage of technology to prevent energy, there are many technologies that have come. Quite recently, I was seeing in LinkedIn, somewhere in Paris, an entire mall has got certain, different colored slabs on the floor. So they will always, there is a request to all the people who visit the mall saying, please support our electricity needs. All you need to do is put your foot on the slab walk over it. And because of some compression system or something, a dynamo moves and then there is some electricity generated. So the number of people walking on it. So at the end of the day, there is enough electricity to run the entire, mall. Similarly, I saw in VIT Vellore, when I went there to set up a invention hub and all that, I could see that VIT Vellore was supporting its electricity needs to almost an extent of 80%. Through what? Through a system where they could burn garbage and create electricity, through a system which was called as a solar tree, a huge welded, huge tree-like iron structure, which had tree-like, branches and all it, over which solar panels were put. And then, that was generating electricity. Now, this is one very simple example. I'll now go to a second example of an Indian girl, who developed a smart cane. Now, just look at the the outlook of this girl when she saw her visually impaired grandmother. She was bumping into furniture and all that in the house, dropping glasses, unable to find her way and all. This girl, a 14-year-old girl called as Ria Karumanchi, she's, I'm proud because she's from the Telugu state. And she developed this smart cane, which had sensor, a GPS, a vibration, and an audio feedback, all put in one single cane, where the blind could hold it, and then was the cane was capable of narrating what are the objects nearby, and it was capable of detecting areas that are well lit or have wet surface, providing turn by turn directions to the person who is holding it, or to the blind person. There was a vibrational feedback, location sharing with family and friends, all multiple technologies used in a simple cane. Now, where does this girl get the idea from? Seeing her grandmother, right? Blind grandmother. Now, I'll go to a third very important innovation, especially by a Indian youth. This was done by a boy called as Subhash Chandra Bose from Pudukottai district in Tamil Nadu. The idea was very simple. He saw his father going to the field and engaging labor to plant seeds, in the field. So he developed a solar power seed drill aid, right, which could not only plant seeds, but it could plant different sizes, right, at variable depths, still maintaining the space between two seeds. So, he could, so let us take today is planting paddy. Tomorrow he could plant, maize or corn, like that. So the best part of this was run by solar power. There was a small engine motor that was run by solar power, and it could dispense, or it could plant different sizes of seeds at variable depths, but still maintaining the space between the two seeds. Now, there was another invention by two young girls, from Erode. One was Elakia and another was Pavitra. Now, Elakia's father was a physically challenged person, and he was working in the looms. Now, physically challenged working in the looms is something which is quite a tough thing, because you need to move the loom in order to weave the cloth and all that. Now, they developed the loom for physically challenged. And what they eliminated? They eliminated the conventional pedal system, which was the heart of a loom. Now, the conventional pedal system was replaced with a handheld gearbox, right, attached to the pulley. And, the whole thing could be operated by a physically challenged person, physically challenged person by, keeping the, holding the handheld gear system and all that. Now, ideas, how do they flow to the younger children, right? Personal experience, people in their house, sometimes seeing the difficulty, sometimes facing the difficulty also. I had one young girl, she was aged about 16 years, who came to me, And then, she wanted to file a patent for a watch which she had invented. She was a victim of molestation. So she invented a particular watch which looked like a watch, but it was not a watch. It was a gadget, Wi-Fi gadget. When any girl is in trouble, all they had to do was click the small button at the side. At least 17 people around that area whom they know will get an immediate alert. And then, she could send an alert to them, and then be, assured that there will be some sort of a help that will come to her. Now, when this girl told me, initially I was so very perturbed because at the age of 17, she faced something which she should not. Then later we went ahead, we did a lot of prior art search and all. But again, we found a lot of prior art in similar this thing. Though we could not file a patent for her, I advised not to file a patent, but she went ahead. And then now on what is called as the request by people, she manufactures that watch and then she gives it to, she sells it to the people. And now the other new invention which I wanted to speak was a drawbridge door from trains. India has got the largest, I think if I'm not wrong, the largest railway network in the world, right? We have few thousands of trains running around, high-speed trains, goods trains, passengers, express trains, and all the coaches which are built by the Integral Coach Factory had the same dimension and the same doorway which was there. So if it was a Shatabdi, the doorway was the same, right? So this girl, Nimisha Katyayan, along with another boy called as Ram Akash, they are from Jharkhand, they developed a drawbridge for the train, which will act as a ramp to make it easier for passengers, to carry their luggage, as well as, aid the disabled to have a very, to safely get down the train. Now, if you see these four inventions, they are not rocket technologies. Definitely not rocket technologies. Very simple technology, but with an idea of aiding the society, or with an idea of aiding a specific part of the society to make their life easy, to see that they are able to do their daily chorus in a very, very simple way with the aid of tools, to make a living out of, even though he's, handicapped, he could make a living out of, the loom which these people had done. Now, coming to the aspect of what is the Indian government doing, right? We have so many startup programs coming up, Make in India, Made in India, so many things are happening. But then, in the scientific temper has to be taken to the public, particularly to the youngsters. Now, how can the scientific temper be taken? Strengthening scientific research and innovation efforts in the country. This has to start in school level and college level. It has to actually start in school level, where children should be in very simple terms told what is an innovation, how does the IPR, you need not tell them, trademark has got 10 years, patent has got 20 years. All that is not necessary, but let them know what invention can be, which is the sort of invention that will go as a patent, which will go as a trademark, which will go as a copyright. So that scientific temper has to be developed, right? It has to strengthen the scientific research and the innovation efforts in the country. Now, if you have to do this, there has to be a concept of networking and hand-holding exercise and outreach, not only by the government, but also by the college, by the school, to the children. You need to find out who is good at what, right? Now, I was seeing one recently in LinkedIn. I was surprised to see one auto driver having made a water bottle, made out of, I think jute straw or something, with a water bottle cover. made out of jute straw, wherein whatever water bottle you put, steel, plastic, whatever it is, and then you slightly wet it and then put it outside, it becomes cold in matter of 5 to 6 minutes. It actually water becomes chill. Now we have seen this people doing, with a gunny bag stitched, or a jute stitch, but this is jute straw. Now he gives a very good explanation as to why jute straw has got such an effect. He says the capillary action in the jute straw makes it very easy for the water to get cooled very quickly. Whatever water is sprinkled on the jute straw, the capillary action there helps the water to get cooled very quickly, thereby cooling the vessel that is there inside. Now these are all very small examples which I'm taking, and students, teachers, and principals have to be addressed. In fact, teachers have to be first told what is innovation, invention, but inculcation of seeding the student with the idea that an invention and innovation is something that will be persistent and which can be improved upon at every stage is something the school has to teach. Now, colleges and schools should have schemes, right? They should approach the scientific community. They should approach the local industry, find out what the local industry wants. Sometimes inventions also very intelligently, people what they do is they see the inventions that are coming and see what are the additional things that could be added, right? Now, today the government is supporting almost about 2.3 lakh students, where a comprehensive support was provided for the students to participate in the school schemes or to participate in the college schemes. And certain schemes were like visit to research facilities, right, research institutes, visit to the industry, and holistic support that is expected to create and enable an environment for the students to get motivated and to pursue science education, to motivate them to understand what new technologies are arising. Children, even otherwise, are also very adept in adopting themselves to new technologies. But then one more push from the government or the school or the college, will see their performances being much, much better. Now, how does innovation help youth is one very important aspect we need to talk about. Most of the youth today have gone into this fever of startup, right? Though, according to me, almost 70% of the startups fail. But then many of the youth take this important step. They motivate themselves to start a startup, or where there is an entrepreneurial ecosystem, and they want to empower the other youth to get a job, or they want to empower them to give what they have, their innovations, and there is actually a growing need to find alternative to the traditional job hunt. See, that is what nowadays the youth look at. See, they
Sir,
want to stand on their legs.
sorry for interruption, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you may conclude in 5 minutes, sir.
Yeah, I will do it. I'll do it. Then I have only 2 slides to go through. Apart from this, what is it that we need to do? Now, Damodaran sir was saying in Malaysia, they have some restrictions, where filing of patents, there is some sort of a restriction. But in India, I don't think you have any restriction, because section, 6 of the Patents Act very clearly says that any person can apply for a patent if he or she is the true and the first inventor of an invention. He has to show that the true and the first inventor of the invention. Now, there is no age restriction for filing the application for patents. That is why almost, I think, 7% of the Indian patents that are being filed by literally minors assisted by guardians. So that is a very encouraging factor for young students to do something like that, because they can come out with very good inventions. Now, what other things can the government do? I had one very small, suggestion. In fact, we have actually recommended this to the government. If you want to develop innovation in youth, exempt them from the fees, exempt them from the rigmarole of the law, exempt them from even, filing certain documents which they think is very. It should be more an informal application being filed, and then grant them the patent, grant them a short-term patent, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, grant them the patent, and tell them, look, if you are able to monetize this, we will give you better concessions, or we'll help you go to a person, angel investor, through whom you can monetize this. After all, if IPR is not monetized, there's no point in getting an IPR. The entire crux of monetization is so very important in IPR. So these are the various, what is called as concessions that the government can think of giving to students. Now, all in all, there's only one thing I want to say. If you want the students to be the future, you should make their future very, very compatible. You should make their future in such a way that they are able to contribute to the intellectual capitalism of the country. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I kindly request our director, sir, to speak on few words on this topic.
Thank you, Damodar Reddy Garu. Our friend, Mr. Ramakrishna Damodaran, Mr. Ashok Ramkumar, a part of ICFI, Professor Hemalata Devi Pratap Reddy, and other faculty colleagues and students. Some people waiting for the results of the IP quiz, and others. Today, after hearing the two speakers, Ashok Ramkumar and Mr. Damodaran, it is visible without any dispute. The environment is very conducive to the young people to file the IPR. And many people are doing the same thing. For this particular purpose, let us examine what's the situation in India at present. What are the promotions the government is taking, and how the situation is. Let us examine that first. You know very well, the establishment of Department of Promotion of Industry and Industrial Trade, we call DPIIT, is the first step which the government has taken to revamp and bring this again. Earlier it was there from 1995 to 2019. Later it was closed and again it has reopened. This is one of the best initiation the government has taken to create a conducive environment for the purpose of youth to file the new innovations. And second, it has brought many projects and schemes, just like Make in India, Digital India, Skill India, Innovative India, Creative India, and facilitated many more things for the purpose of fostering the intellectual property, innovations, first innovation, then convert into a innovation part of it. Our Ramkumar was saying that there should be some concessions for the new people or young people or young organizations which are filing the intellectual property right. Yes, already it is given. If there is a financial assistance schemes provided by the government for MSME, either initially some discount is given, not only discount, the government is also refunding entire amount once the application is processed properly, and then it is going on. And for the other purposes, if you see awareness programs now, government has come with a scheme called IPR Youth Awareness Program. This IPR Youth Awareness Program is one of the most important recent initiation by the government bring to awareness among the people. It is organized or managed by IPR Promotional Management Center. This we call short we call CPAM. This CPAM has started many initiations, even including this particular IPR issues, IPR knowledge into the high school syllabuses or curriculums, and it has opened almost 135 to 150 cells in colleges and universities to bring awareness among the people, young people, to start working upon this. And also, I told in the beginning only, IP Nanny, one of the mascot, which is there, which is also included on comics for the purpose of bringing awareness, make the this importance of the intellectual property rights, classification on intellectual property rights, and enjoy the benefits of that by means of a part of it. These are the various schemes that has been made it, and even 80% of schemes, 80% of the fees has been reduced to the new people, the new startups. Second important is the government has announced innovation weeks or innovation rankings, area rankings, like that. Every university or institution or academic institutions are made a what's called provoked to bring some kind of new things into the part of it. Incubation centers are created, and incubation centers subsidies are given, and upgrading indigenous technologies made. Accelerated growth of New India Innovation Scheme has been brought in. So many things are coming to bring the IPR awareness among the people, encourage the people, motivate the people, young people into this. Even then, I think these programs initiated by the government might have brought our Indian scenario to little high above the average, and some improvement we are able to see in the last 2 years. Now we are also filing a good number of applications, as I told in the beginning. Even though the youth are the crux or central point or focus point for the new innovations startups. Law School recently has organized many programs for this particular purpose to encourage the youth for the new innovations, creativity part of it, and we are trying to hold them, or giving the hand holding to them for IPR part of it. Unfortunately or fortunately, very few people are joining these games and competitions. And as a unique program, ICFI Law School has conducted one hackathon with the name of hackathon. This particular program is we have aimed only for the law purposes. Law purpose cannot be singly made it. Generally, law plus management, law plus technology is a multidisciplinary combination which requires for the innovations and also getting the new IPRs. Law alone may not be able to do it, or management may not be able to do it. For the purposes, we have coined a new word called Legathon, which is a hackathon in which the different kinds of things will be discussed, and IPR will be set. The law people will be supporting the IPR, and management people will be trying to manage the IPR, and also investments, etc. We have identified 3 best projects, and we are going to incubate them up in the bud. Some also there in the pre-incubation stage. So pre-incubation, incubation, and post-incubation, and commercialization. These are the 3-4 areas, the stages where the entire innovations and startups will be going to face. But unfortunately, if you see the research development fund, which is going to be created by our government as part of our new educational policy, is not yet come. It should come as early as possible, which may be able to further provide the funds and project motivation part of it. If you see the investments in the market, how much investments are there in pharma? Really, if India is standing 3rd position in the manufacturing and distribution of the bulk drugs, it goes to billion rupees into the market turnover. Then what is the investment they are making in the innovations and intellectual property rights? Maybe 2.3% or 2.4% of their profits they are able to make it. If you are able to send 2.3% of profits into the research, how can we expect good innovations coming into and good IPR are being filed. It's rare. If you see the other countries, even America is around 8 to 9%, Japan is 12%. That's almost all people are above the average, but we are not at all flowing the amount into the part of it. The reason when we discuss with the industrialists, they say, sir, it will take a lot of time for the investment. They'll be held without any kind of results because the creativity or innovation, new product or new molecule will take a good amount of years, maybe 3 years or 4 years, 5 years. If you file application, all these 5 years during which the entire intellectual property rights application is filed will be included. As a result, we'll be left with a small period of 10 years. In the 10 years, we are not sure that whether this particular patent sanction will be yielding the amounts we invest. That's the most important question we have to answer. What's the feasibility of the investments if they are flowing into the research? Whether they are able to get equal amount back, at least not profits. Whether they are able to get the what are they scalable, or whether the investments and returns are scalable in a particular ratio. If they are not able to, if you are not able to scale or relate the investments into the returns, automatically people will be losing the interest in the investment of the part of it. And second, the second important is, well, if you are investing, what are the amount of the new patent or what are you are getting? Whether it is going to sustain for a long time, if there is any kind of any competitor coming in that particular place, as a result, the what are the patent you are innovating are getting now, whether it will become the bad patent. If it is a bad patent, how much encouragement you'll be having further to invest in the same kind of thing? These are the questions unanswerable because the time will be solving all the answers. Today, whatever you are doing, it may be a very good part because of the fast changing technologies and digitalization part of it, and people coming with the different angles, sectors, and many applications are being filed. We are not sure whether the patent, whatever being applied now, or the patent, whatever is granted to you, is going to sustain for a long time. At least lifetime, that's a 20 years minus the 4 or 5 years during which the experiment is done. The millions of rupees which is invested are into the production of the molecules, commercially production part of it, then procuring the machinery part of that, procuring the raw material, all those things, we may not be that much tenable, that much was beneficial. That's why that's the biggest problem when talking the investments into the intellectual property right, inventions and filing of intellectual property rights. Another important problem is acceptability. What kind of acceptability? Acceptability of the product that you are inventing, acceptability of the model, the process that is being done, environmentally friendly, non-environmentally friendly, the electronic waste issues, and many more regulations that are coming every year, every day and every year in order to protect the environment and also maintain this sound management systems. So again, this is a big question. Today, something may be good enough because of the carbon credit trading part of it, that particular what are the things which we are inventing today, or what are the pollution that is being caused by that particular invention, or effluents that are coming out of that invention, again may cause a damage to the environment. As a result, the acceptability of that particular patent may not be encouraged. Some restrictions may come, they may stop it. That's a part of it. And one more triggering point for the investments will be the value creation. Innovation starts with the ideation, then seeding of the ideation, coming with a experimental thing, then testing on the market ground, then you are creating a value, then you are going for a monetization part of it. During 5-6 phase of your invention or IPR part of it, at any stage, something may happen to you. As a result, all your investments will be packed and blacked, resulting in loss to the concerned person. This is another important. Unless somebody assures the startup or the inventor that you don't worry, you do it, we'll take the remaining part of it. You do it, we'll face the losses, or we'll do marketing part of it. We'll manage your portfolio like that if that is taken. the better opportunity will be there for the intellectual property right development and also flow of investments into the innovations. And not only value for delivery. Another important decision will be when we are talking the investments, whether to invent or buy. When something is available equivalent to that in the market for a lesser price, why should I invest? Why should I spend my 5 years or 6 years time in investing? Why should I spend my amount in getting the raw material and all those things? Every time with the small adoptions, with fitted material available in the market, I have to take a decision now whether I have to go for the invention or I can buy or I can go further improvement on the things which is available in the market. It's a big decision. Decision making is a not so easy part. Lots of factors are to be taken into consideration before the investment returns part of it, the market condition part of it, government rules and regulation part of it, consumer feedback part of it. So many things will be there in order to take a decision whether to go for innovation or buy. For this particular purpose, many times generic drugs are being taken and converted into the required model, maybe syrup or other things, tablets, etc. People are not going to invest in the new molecules. What are the molecule that is available proved to be success? Then those things have been further developed in order to get some kind of benefit. So this is what you have seen during this pandemic. How many people are trying for creating the vaccine against the COVID? Some people got success, some people have not got success. How many types of clinical examinations are conducted? Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 4, 5. Some time, if the at phase 1 or phase 2, if that particular medicine is a vaccine is failed, all the investments made has totally lost. You have seen the example of our own what's called the vaccine that has not been accepted by the foreign countries till recently. Only recently they have accepted this particular vaccine also acceptable for the purpose of migration or for the travel from one country to other country. These are the things associated with the part of it. Then second is, now you are having the innovations, you are having the investment with you, then you are having taken a decision for the purpose of to get or now buy or build, then you'll be having managing that particular portfolio of the inventions. You may be having the copyrights, you may be having the trademarks, you may be having the geographical indications, and also may be having a lot of patents with you. So how to monetize that particular part? There should be specialists for doing this. IP audit is also one of the most important thing, which will be helping for the administration management portfolio. Which portfolio, which product is most beneficial, which product is giving you the yield. Like that, if you are able to maintain that portfolio, that will be good enough, that will be helping us. Naturally, at any particular point of time, all the IP you have may not be yielding the equivalent. One IP may be giving loss, other IP may be giving the profits. So you should be have balancing return on that investments what you made. If the people having only one IP with them or one innovation with them, if they suffer the losses, that will be an example for other people. So other people may not be coming to the markets or innovations. So that's why one failure may be causing concern to the many people, because many people are only ordinary medium or MSME projects or MSME entrepreneurs. So that's why there is a requirement not only bring the IP awareness to among the people in order to bring more patents into the market and also get our ranking, very good ranking part of it. There is a requirement of creating a fund and insurance part of it, so that you will be absorbing the losses that suffered by the inventors and also some companies, even after they take all the precautions. You are all aware that one of the biggest problem with the IPR portfolio is the litigations. Litigations are causing billions of rupees as a penalties. We have seen the Apple and Samsung fighting, and other pharma companies fighting, resulting in billions of rupees as a penalty or damages to be paid. So for this particular purpose, what are the income you generated through that particular part of the material may not be sufficient to pay the penalties to them. and most of the people are not knocking the doors of insurance. So we have the special insurance policies in order to protect these particular losses. Most of them are not aware, as the policy is also costly when you compare to the others. This kind of insurance assurances for the people is required. So you do it. If something happens, we are the back of you, will support you. Then only the flow of investments come into the field, and youngsters will also take a leap into the new startups and bring. Maybe few classical examples are there, as Mr. Ashok Ramkumar told, 5, 6 inventions he has given, and maybe more number of inventions are there, but people are not coming to file the cases, applications before the IPR. The real applications filed with the office is maybe 10% of the actual innovations that are taking place in agriculture, farming part of it, small scale industries, MSME industries, in other areas. If we really examine them, we'll be able to find out our application may be increased in multiple folds, maybe 2 times, 3 times applications may be coming up. Lack of awareness, not having the access to the patent licensing applicant, what's called consultants to file, and also the delay, the process that is being taken in the organized IPOs. All these are the causes. So the government or the philanthropists like you people has to take a call and argue and make a representation of the government to minimize the time for the granting of the patents. Then the startups will be coming up with a new what's called demand, and also there will be new energies will be flown into this, new investments will be flown into this. Youth is a youth is a way for us. Our country, India, as Mr. Damodar said, almost 65% of Indians are youth below 25 years. If you calculate to 35 years, it is 75% years. Maybe within next 10 years, maybe 80%, 82% Indian population will be youth, unlike other countries. This is the advantage. Let us take advantage of the youth now, bring them to the IPR fold, and bring them to innovations with the help of the what is the innovation, creativity, all the schemes the government is announcing. Bring them online and give them assurance that don't worry, if something happens, we are here to back you, help you, give the hand holding. Then things will be coming. Hand holding for 2 purposes: for unjust enrichment, to stop the unjust enrichment through infringement. Second is to support them for the failure of the patents or what of the product that is coming up. So these are the areas where the government or people are supposed to take care. And with this, youth will be certainly coming to the forefront in order to, in the IPR filing part of it, the innovation part of it, startups, etc., etc. So with this, I thank everyone who is there here, most the Center for Excellent Intellectual Property Rights, which has organized this program on this IP Day. So this, I think there are some more other programs now. Richa, you can take up now.
Sir, thank you very much, sir, for expressing your views. I would like to put before the expert panelists here one question, keeping the constraint of time, which may be answered, which may contain many answers. That a lot of IP is passing into public domain. So to tackle this issue, what are the do's and don'ts that the panel members may suggest to be taken care by the young innovators?
May I? Or
Yes.
Mr. Ramkumar or Damodar, who is going to answer?
Prof, you go first. I'll take it from there.
Yes. Actually, there are some kind of conditions for granting the intellectual property rights. Number 1 is originality. Second is newness or non-obviousness. Number 3, industrial use. So the 3 are very important part of it. What are the specifications you are writing, all those things. Nowadays, the people who are inventing, they will immediately before filing are disclosing to the public that this is an innovation I'm going to. They are making presentations in the seminars, conferences, and also writing the articles and publishing the newspapers. As a result, the non-obviousness is lost, and creativity, newness is lost. People are not able to get. Tomorrow, if you file, opposition will come. This is already existing in the market, so it is not non-obviousness, so you cannot grant it. Second, industrial use is also very important part of it, which the particular part of it. For the purpose of innovation, they are innovating. And for the copyrights, another part, other things, the originality and converting the idea into tangible form is another part. Most of them you are making the paraphrasing or copying, or maybe plagiarism is going on. As a result, whatever you are creating, that is becoming a part of it. So your own people, if you are having a giant work, giant research work, suddenly some person will be fighting with you, and they will go out and create a similar kind of thing in the market before you, and that will become a part of it. And last one, another one is not understanding the importance or value of that particular product you are generating or innovating. We take it very easy. The only this much what's there in that, like that. If you take easy, and you'll not ready to file the application, and one or not having the knowledge how to file, and sometimes the process and the cost benefit analysis is also another important part. Somebody, though it is they will know very well, create a litigation in order to delay that particular part or bring them into the public domain. There is a what's called preconceived litigation to break that or to discourage that particular person. These are the way which are some of the things which will be causing the public into innovations to public. As soon as you take a decision, you should be careful that this particular innovation is a new thing. You should not disclose. You have to file a one provision application, and within some time, if you are able to file that particular part. And there is a recent decision also. If you are submitting some kind of new paper in a conference, that also you can record and declare this was published and this is my innovation. That also you have to declare and disclose. So that will be also helping you. So before going to market, you have to take enough care in protecting your own thing. If you are neglecting your part or you are lethargic, automatically things will come into the market. New molecules will come, new product will be coming. Because original product comes late, but counterfeit product comes very, very urgently. Some of the places in India are known for that. Something new will be coming, original things will come late. Before that only, the things will come from Ludhiana or some other places. We should be very careful about these things. Next, let's take out Damodar.
Okay, thank you, Prof. I think you have covered quite a bit of what I wanted to say, but just to add a couple of things there. Now, Prof mentioned about you need to have a great view of your own innovation. I totally agree with that one. A lot of our clients, especially the local inventors, they have the mindset that their invention is applicable within certain jurisdiction, within their country, for example. So IP is always about international. Okay, IP is about going, breaching the international gap, going across the borders and making sure that your product are protected and commercialized in a larger scale. Now, so my advice to the people who are thinking of filing IP and commercializing their innovation, get a bird's view eye about your invention. Think big, making sure that you take calculated risk, definitely, of course, because anything that you do may backfire in terms of cost, in terms of litigation and all that, time, of course. So take a very deep view of what you want to do with the invention, all right? Remember, you don't have to commercialize your invention. You can always license it to third parties, okay? End of the day is what it is important is to have your invention in the market. For me, having a good patent equals to nothing. Having a good product that is commercializable is everything. All right, that's first thing. Now, on the other hand, Prof also touched on the counterfeit products in the market. I would like to touch on a bit slightly different issue. Yes, could be a lot of counterfeit products. Also, we have seen a new trend where we see companies who are engaged to produce something like contract manufacturers. They do produce extra. Let's say if you ask them to produce 1 million, say handbags, for example, they may end up producing 1,010,000, maybe 10,000 extra. So that 10,000 copies may end up in the market. Okay, remember they are genuine, having similar or more or less the same quality as the original product, and these products going to hit you. And remember, people may not be able to differentiate the quality because they are the same. The price may be a competition, and as Prof said, these products, the counterfeits and the extra production products, may end up reaching the market faster than the actual product, because it's not uncommon, because IP owners take a long time to produce. Remember, the inventors have taken many years to look into the inventions, file the patents and all that. But for the inventors, all they have to do is that they need to see one copy of the product, and then they can do the rest. All right. So it is very, very important to have a very good IP policy, IP strategy, as well as how to making sure that you have a good commercialization strategy. Have a good contracts with your manufacturers, with your distributors, making sure that there are no loopholes. Of course, there are no foolproof agreements, I must admit, but try to get good agreements, good lawyers to consult, because we have seen many clients who actually downloaded agreements from the internet, adapting the agreements for their own use, end up coming back to us at the last minute saying that we are pretty much screwed, if I may use that term, because when we ask them what happened, they say that, oh, we got the contract and the contract was downloaded from the internet. We just filled up the name of the parties. We just amended the countries, the jurisdiction and whatnot, but without realizing that every business deal is different. So the agreement cannot be, there's no such thing as a template agreement, so to speak. All right. Mr. Ram Kumar, anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, since the theme is youth, I wanted to put forth a very specific event that generally happens in colleges in India, especially engineering colleges. Now what they do is they have this fest where the engineering students display what they call it as their invention. For an inventor, whatever he invents is his own invention. Now, how do we deal with this? Now, I'll give you a very simple example. About 8-9 months back, I went to one college where different types of products which were claimed to be inventions were displayed. There was one simple product which was a trolley that you use in supermarkets, right? Now, the moment I start putting soap, paste, things in that, there is a small sensor which identifies the price, and then it gives you the price then and there. So you can choose how much you want to buy from that. Now, suppose we want to file a patent for this. The question that was posed to me was, sir, he is exhibiting in a college amounts to a prior art publication. Does it amount to a prior art? Then what do we do? There is always, a solution to every problem, especially the Indian Patent Act. There is something called as anticipation under the Indian Patent Act. It starts at section 99 or something. So within a particular time, if you are able to file the patent for that product which was already in public domain, there is a possibility of you getting a patent. In fact, 1 or 2 patents under anticipation, I got it, but it becomes difficult to prove. So this is something that has to be very clean, very, with a lot of clarity looked into. And then, it has to be advised to people who are exhibiting as to what exactly this is. So generally what I advise is you file a provisional, it doesn't matter. Individual provisional application, then you start exhibiting. Tomorrow you don't file the final specification, your invention is not published. So it still remains a secret, allowing you to file a second provisional, except that the date will vary. So this was one thing which I wanted to share.
Thank you very much, sir, for addressing the issue. I have one question from participants. One of the participant, Kavya, is asking that I have heard that generally the university holds copyright on the dissertation of final year students with no document signed.
May I?
Can I take this?
Sure, sir.
I don't think the university will hold a copyright on a desertion, though it is given to the university by the student. The consideration for such a thing has to be, if it had been worked for the purpose of payment, then there is a question that arises. In fact, there is a judgment of the, I think, Gujarat High Court, where one such issue was brought, and then the Gujarat High Court said, no, the university or the college cannot hold any copyrights, though they can use the content under permission from the author. So according to me, there cannot be a copyright. I don't know how others will be able to look at this, especially Narasimha Rao sir. I don't know what you will say.
Can I just add to that point?
Yes.
Okay. A couple of things there. In Malaysia, I think it's quite clear. As Mr. Ram Kumar said, I don't think in that case the university owns the copyright because there's no employment contract, so to speak. The students are not to be deemed to be employees. Number one, there's no payment made in return to taking over the copyright, I would imagine. So in that case, the students, the author should be the copyright owner. However, like what Mr. Ram Kumar said, that the universities should not be prohibited from using that findings from in the research for their use, for example, to enhance the research work and all that. This is quite similar to the social media situation, like all of us are posting photos and videos and whatnot. When we sign up for the social media platforms, you are giving a free license for the social media to use your photo, your videos, and your posts and your articles and whatnot. And the IP still belongs to you, yeah, by the way, the IP rights still belong to you, the author, but they are given free license to use the what you call the post, the media, the video and the photo for whatever purpose they want to use. And it is always a non-exclusive arrangement whereby if you're posting something on Facebook, you are not barred from posting it on Instagram, for example. Yeah. So it is what it is. So the IP should belong to the author. But the university should be given the rights to use the what you call the findings for their benefit also. Maybe Prof. Rao will have some comments on that, since this is a very much a university issue.
Yeah. Before Mr. Rao comes in, quite recently, there was one competition held where all IP lawyers in India were asked to write quotes on IP, different quotes. So I gave about 10 quotes, out of which one quote was very, very funny. I said, just because a monkey took a debatable selfie, it cannot be a monkey business, was what I wrote. So there was, one, German professor who wanted to use it in his book, and then so he sent me a mail. He said, sir, can I use it and what is it? I said, look, if it is going to be for academics, I'm not going to say anything, you can use it. The question here is, certain times social media works so very effectively. And it was just out of the thought, I just wrote it. I said, if a monkey takes a debatable selfie, just because a monkey took a debatable selfie, IP is not monkey business, was my quote in that.
So, Mr. Ram Kumar Garu and Damodaran ji, I think it is already 5:45. Our college bus is ready. Maybe before the college, we may not be able to further extend it. And before there may be some kind of announcement of the results, if I remember. Let us complete that. Then if anybody wants to, I will be giving my comments upon that. Please announce the results. Already 5:45, bus will go. Who is announcing the results?
I am doing it, sir. So with
Yes.
the permission of director, sir, I would like to announce the results for the two competitions which we conducted in this week. The first competition was the copyright quiz competition, which was conducted on 23rd April on the occasion of the World Book and Copyright Day. So the first winner for this World Book and Copyright Day, who holded the first rank, we have two people who were clashing on the same position. So there was a tie. So the first winner is Ms. Thanisha Panakkal. She is from IIT Kharagpur. Then we have won a cash prize of ₹3,000. The second person who was on the first rank was Ms. Simran Nangia. She is from ICFI Law School, Hyderabad. Simran, we have won a cash prize of ₹3,000. And the second rank for the copyright quiz competition was gained by Mr. Shivam Bhattacharya. He's from Gujarat National Law University. Mr. Shivam, we have got a cash prize of rupees 2,000. And I would like to just mention that for this competition, we received a very great participation. Almost 234 students registered to participate for this copyright quiz competition. The second competition which we conducted was the exemplary competition, which was conducted on 21st April on the occasion of the World Innovation and Creativity Day. And the first prize for this competition goes to Ms. Kavya Budhiraja from the GGSIPU University, Delhi. Ma'am has received a cash prize of rupees 3,000 rupees. And the second prize for this competition goes to Ms. Gargi Mukherjee from Iqbal Law School, Hyderabad. Ma'am has received a cash prize of rupees 2,000 rupees. Thank you, everyone. And I would like to wish everyone a very happy World IP Day.
Thank you, sir. With the permission of director, sir, I would like to propose vote of thanks.
Yes.
I proposally thank Professor Dr. Ravi Narasimha Rao, sir, Director Iqbal Law School, Hyderabad, for giving this opportunity and always encouraging and motivating us to conduct various activities for the benefit of all the participants. I thank Director, sir, for giving opening comments and also on the theme of this World IP Day, and also discussing on the topic investments on IPR and portfolio management, achieving for the better future of youth, and various incentives floated by the Indian government to encourage innovations of youth. I profusely thank Ramakrishna Damodaran sir, Managing Director, ADIPWEN, all the way joining from Malaysia and discussing on the topic youth innovations and issues, starting with youth and their strength, covering various aspects of the IP generation, filing and ownership aspects. I profusely thank Mr. Ashok Ramkumar sir, Senior Attorney, Founder, Verdict IP, for joining us and discussing on the topic youth entrepreneurship through innovations and sharing important innovations relating to youth power to innovate, and also upon the issues of do's and don'ts that the youth have to keep in mind that while innovating. So I thank all the esteemed team of attorneys, particularly Suren sir of ADIPWEN from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and other countries who joined, and also all the esteemed attorneys at Verdict IP for joining us. I sincerely thank all the invitees, participants, more particularly students and young participants. I thank Professor Yamalata Devi Madam, Pratap Reddy sir, and all the faculty members hearing. And I thank my colleagues at the Center for Excellence at IPR, Iqbal Law School, Hyderabad, Mr. Dilip Sharma, Richa Madam, Anni, Pratisha, Kiran Madams for their extensive support, and also for conducting series of events throughout the week on the occasion of World IP Day celebrations and making it a memorable one. I thank Murli Mohan sir and staff for providing us technical support. I once again thank one and all. Thank you.
Sir, can you repeat the results once again?
We will be emailing to the winners. Okay, and a small announcement for all the winners that you are requested to please share your bank details on the email ID shared through which you have received the official invitation to participate in the competition, and along with your university ID card. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for inviting.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Damodaran and Mr. ARK.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Dr. Reddy.
Thank you.
Ram Kumar, safe flight to US.
And one more announcement for everyone that we are having an IPR conference in the next month, and I will be sharing the conference brochure with you all if anyone is interested in participating for the same. Ramakrishna sir, I have already shared it with you for circulation in Malaysia.
Sure.
So we'll surely contact you shortly for that event as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.